hold on. Let me make sure. I need to make sure the stream is actually picking up the fact. Okay, so it says we're live now. Hold on. I need to make sure it's picking up everything. I don't think it is. Hold on. Picking up the fact. Okay, so it is. It is. All right, that's good. That's good. That's good.
It is?
It is. Yep. Okay. All right.
There we go. Okay.
Although I don't think I can. No, I'm unable to see live chat. Well, I mean, I have to see it through Chrome, but that's whatever. So, what is your take on gender, or should I go first?
I don't know. We're really just jumping right into it, aren't we? Why don't you go first?
Okay, so I find that I think that the semantics of identification in terms of pronouns is relatively useless, and not as progressive as a lot of people put it.
Okay. Okay.
Should you want me to continue?
Yeah, go right
Okay,
ahead.
okay. So
I still have work brain. Don't mind me.
no, it's fine. It's fine. So I think that in terms of objectivity and the aspects of being progressive for a better society, that complicating something relatively basic, well, not in basic in the sense of the understandability of it, and having semantics over it really isn't needed or much useful, other than accommodating what I think is semantics. I think that
So, just everything about, like, pronouns.
not pronouns in itself. More so just the aspect of the aspect of the identity argument. I find to be if it's roped in with the other stuff. Yeah, I think that in my basis, right? I'm arguing essentially for the fact that I'm arguing for the definition of sex and gender pretty much being one and the same. Like it wasn't before the current definition. Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand where you're going. Okay, so clearly we've evolved and changed since then, and funny enough, I used to be an anti-SJW. I know you mentioned that in the last stream. Back in like 2015, 2016, I was not against trans people, but definitely a little bit, hate to throw it out there, but, transphobic. I didn't know I was being transphobic. So, when it comes to pronouns and everything,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm just trying to formulate the, when it comes to pronouns, I understand that it can be semantic to some. It's just semantics, it's not worth talking about. Because 99.9% of the time, you see someone, they are that gender.
Mm-hmm.
But we have evolved a lot since then.
When you say evolved, though, do you mean what do you mean by that? Like,
I mean, like, socially.
Okay.
Or at least I hope that we've evolved more socially.
So, what are you? Do you follow? Do you believe in the social construct argument then? That gender is a social construct?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So, the way that I see it is that the genders did start because we have those two biological sexes. That is the basis. But that's not the end-all, be-all. When it comes to, say, I remember you were trying to say something about, like, gender norms being sexist because a trans woman trying to appear more like a woman is perpetuating stereotypes. But I personally don't see it as that.
Um, I don't think that that's perpetuating stereotypes. What I meant by that is I think that trying to use so the current definition relies on social roles and stereotypes, right? Now,
Hmm.
if a man is capable of not being in those stereotypes or social roles, but still being a man, and the same would apply to a woman, what is the point of the definition at all? Because it's social roles, and then you ask, well, what social roles do a man have? And then that gets into territories of sexism, because nowadays, if we're leaning to, say, a more progressive society where social roles and stereotypes are not to be forced, right?
Hmm.
Then the definition with social construct loses what it even hinges itself upon. And I would argue that in terms of today's society, with us being more comfortable with men and women expressing themselves outside of the stereotypes and norms, to hinge the definition on social roles, which are practically non-existent in the sense of USA, or most developed societies like the United States. Other parts of the world likely different, but I want to say that inside the United States, where we're pushing for equal rights in terms of jobs, in terms of roles in society, and to express yourselves freely, I don't find the point. I don't see the point in using gender as some form of expression when the definition of it in and of itself hinges on things that aren't really around anymore, and as time goes by, are becoming less and less existence. I think that. Hold on, they are saying something in. What's up? Can you guys not hear? Is something off with the stream? Oh, that has nothing to do with this, Lugia. Um,
Yeah, we're not talking about that. This is gender, not
yeah.
racism. And let's keep it to gender.
So I think that the objective, so with gender, right? Sure,
Hmm.
sure, it wasn't exactly entirely founded on the basis of like sex, but beforehand they seen males and females in terms of the genitalia in the majority population, and they started calling those with a penis men and those with a vagina women. And then in terms of when we started to, I guess, become less when we got into science, right? Then we started to get to the more aspects of what sex was, and then as of recently we have the new definition, and I think that the new definition hinges itself on things that barely exist in today's United States society. Other countries, it may be different, um, but I think in societies sort of or countries sort of like the United States. And as developed as it is, I don't think there's really any real social roles or stereotypes that are really predominant. I mean, there's still some, but they aren't, enforced like they used to be in like the '60s or the '70s.
Hmm. So it's not enforced the way that it used to be. Far from it. If anything, it's very lenient. We have jokes about like the male wife and whatever.
Hmm.
Like people don't really care anymore. And personally, I do think that the whole trans movement is like moving towards just flat out not caring. Like I've seen trans women, for
Hmm.
example, who don't entirely present female.
Hmm.
If you were to go with like a cis woman, like a lesbian, they would be a butch. I've also seen trans men who are still very effeminate.
Yeah.
Like this isn't just it's not just black and white. There are many like gray areas and little niches that you go into when it comes to gender expression, identity, biological sex, obviously.
So, my question now is, what is the purpose of the identity argument and the aspect of it when if say so we want a society where there's no advantage to being a man or a woman. We want a society where both are equal in terms of opportunities and can express themselves regardless of said gender. So then what is the point of making gender a focal point of expression, and what is the negative aspect of what is really the logical point in trying to change one's gender or move to a different gender if you can express yourself either way regardless of that gender?
So for me, it's a lot of different things. My own transness, obviously, trauma, lots of trauma, just not feeling comfortable. There's a lot of people that just genuinely do not feel comfortable with the way that their body presents, so they feel the need to change it. Like, no matter what you do, you could change everything. You could gain or lose weight, you could cut your hair a different style, put on contacts, put on glasses, change your fashion sense. There are some key things that you need to change in order to feel comfortable with yourself. And obviously, there's a lot of talk about the definition of like man and woman in society. We're moving away from that, and I do see in the next like not in the next like 50 years, probably like 100,000 years or something. In all honesty, humans might just become like one gender.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there may be like, people with penises, people with vaginas, but they'll all just identify as human.
Okay.
There won't be a need to go through all these labels.
Okay. So yeah, I find no reason for the labels. My thing is simply I think that it really shouldn't be. It should be less of man, woman, and non-binary and all of that, and more so just male and female. Because if it's male and female and there's no stereotypes and no roles associated with that, and in terms of medical treatment and biological differences, there's differences between the two, and at the end of the day, everyone ends up being male or female. I think that if we just stick to the scientific aspect of it, which is male or female, and ditch the stereotypes and ditch the stereotypes and the supposed roles that come along with it, I think that would be... Science is what will probably push us further. I mean, whether it be, obviously technology, medical sciences, and stuff like that. I think that the objectives are what pushes us closer to achieving more than the semantics of things. Does that make sense?
I get where you're coming from. So, obviously, biology is important, science is very important. But there's more to it than just that. If you look at it from that one lens, then yeah, okay, there are biologically males and females. And yeah, there are sometimes people who have both characteristics. Are they assigned male or female? Probably. But there are still people who have dysphoria. And that's still a big problem. There's a lot of just... Ugh. So, there is a lot of focus on the scientific base of it, but a lot of people seem to forget about the psychological and how much it can affect the physical.
Okay. So the thing with the psychological aspect of it is you're suggesting that the individual's belief takes priority over the objectivity aspect of it. And the reason why I don't necessarily agree with that is I don't think merely believing something makes it true and should be really treated as such. I think that, well, what's really the cause, okay? So here's I guess you could say a hypothetical, right?
Mm-hmm.
If men and women are equal in society and there's no roles and there's nothing negative about being a man or a woman, then what is really the rational point of wanting to be a specific one? If we're really going for the fact that there's no stereotypes that should be enforced, or roles in society, I I can't think of a rational reason as to why a rational logical reason as to why there would be even the purpose of attempting to alter yourself to appear like that of another, and claim to be that of another if you're equal to. If you can express yourself freely, regardless of that gender, and there's no boundaries between the two,
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a logical or rational reason as to why there would even be an effort to transition.
Okay.
Do you have
I
one?
had a thought and I lost it. Ugh. Give me a moment. It'll come back.
All right. Hold on. Let me look at chat really quickly.
Mm-hmm. I see someone mentioning dysphoria is purely brain related, which, yeah, you're right. It is chemicals in the brain, things not firing correctly.
Well, yeah. Everything.
But the fact, go
Mhm.
ahead.
I cut you off. That was a dick move.
Oh, no, go ahead. It's fine.
All right. Well, I mean, everything in psychology. Well, the problem with like using psychology as like a basis for it, right? Um, is everything in psychology is almost subjective. Almost everything. Psychology. Well, while psychology isn't exactly a science, it bridges into sciences though. But it mostly does. It mostly deals with the subjective aspects of how people react to like emotional trauma. A lot of the conditions uh, within psychology that people can be diagnosed with are a result of some sort of emotional trauma, um, which typically also can include physical trauma. Those two can translate, but
Hmm.
it'll occasionally bridge over to the biological or neurological aspect, like for example, depression is a hormone imbalance in the brain. The brain can induce it to itself, and then you can also have, like, let's say, damage to the brain, which can also induce depression. But also the brain, in a result of emotional trauma, can induce depression on itself. We don't know exactly why, but that's the human. We just know that happens because of emotions. But a lot of things in okay, so here's an example, right? Multi-personality disorder. Now that has a new name, and I don't know the new. Actually, no, it's
Dissociative identity disorder.
yeah. It ended up getting a new name a few years back, but
Hmm.
there's such leveling degrees of it that individuals will find themselves believing that they're multiple people. That is not too common, but that can happen at a certain level. Um, it's not that they actually are multiple people, though. Like, scientifically, there hasn't been much evidence to suggest that there's actually multiple people. So, basically, my point is, I don't see the merits in taking belief as fact, especially when okay, so you look at what's supposed to help gender dysphoria. Hormone replacement therapy and surgeries. The surgeries are not very good, either one. Um, the male one involves stripping the penis of most tissues, inverting it, using the testicle skin to produce the inside of what would be the walls, um, and then then you also have the problem that there's a lack of natural lubrication that happens with females, and then there's also the fact that it's the testicle skin on the inside, because that's what they use, um, which can and has resulted in a plethora of cases with pubic hair. So then there's the female surgery, where they take tissue, well, they take skin transplant, whether it be from your arm or leg, and then they produce essentially a pseudo penis. And I mean, you can look at photos. I don't know why people would really get the surgery, even to up to date standards, because it doesn't really look like a penis. It doesn't function like one. It's mostly there to just look like there's a penis there. So you have these surgeries which are expensive, which aren't exactly as effective, and I actually did a video specifically about them. And then you also have the hormones. And when it comes to the hormones, I'm not really against hormone replacement therapy. It can cause cancer in the ovaries or in the testicles, but again, that's their decision. But I don't think that it's rational to be under the belief that you're another gender when you have nothing really holding you back. Does that make sense? Because if society's not going to keep up with roles and stereotypes, what is the point of a gender expression if there's nothing really to gender anymore? Because the roles are being, I would say, as days go by, eradicated in most developed areas, and then the norms are becoming so that people can express themselves regardless of how they are. You know, if a man can be feminine, a woman can be masculine, what really defines a man and a woman, other than, you know, what sex was? So that's why I think that the new definition is extremely convoluted in my eyes.
Okay. So, when it comes to gender and society, obviously, there are still a lot of people who want to go with the gender binary. Or, you know, you are a man because you have a penis, or you're a woman because you have a vagina and uterus. So, while we are moving away from social roles, I definitely do see that push. There is still that push back that's stopping us from going forward. Like, say, for example, it's deemed more okay for a female to present more masculine. Meanwhile, if a man was to, like, say, wear a dress, or if a man came out as a woman and started dressing more effeminate, putting on makeup, doing things like that, it's deemed less than and disgusting. So while I get where you're coming from, there is still the fact that there is this baseline sexism within our society. And we still haven't quite moved away from it. We're making the effort, but it's going to be a long, long time before we're starting over my words. Great. But it's going to be a long, long time before we're actually to the point where men and women are 100% equal.
Yeah.
Because there are still people out there who won't see a woman as equal. I just saw some conversation on Facebook about how this mechanic was complaining about having to look at a woman's car. Meanwhile, you have women in the comments saying, maybe if you didn't jack up the price because I'm a woman, I'd want to come to you more and get things checked more regularly. So there's still some sexism in things that we wouldn't even think of, like in regular day-to-day life. Or, hell, I just saw this one. The fact that men can go around with a shirt on, but a woman can't. Because it's automatically seen as, oh, that's sexual, that's gross. Put a shirt on. But
I think they ended up doing something like that somewhere in Canada. There were some women feminists that were wanting to be able to walk around shirtless just as men do, and I think it was in a specific area in Canada where it was made legal to do so, and oddly enough, they never exercised that right. But yeah, I get what you're saying there. I would
Like,
like
something
to.
else that
Hmm?
I've noticed too
Hmm.
is, by the way, there is a place in New York, I think, which also has the topless law, I think. Pretty sure I heard that a couple years ago. But along with that, there's kind of more pressure for men to take off their shirts if they're going like swimming or something.
Hmm.
Like if they're not comfortable and they want to keep on a shirt, let them keep on their shirt.
Yeah.
If a woman wants to show off her boobs to the world, let her. Like we see man boobs all the time. They
Yeah.
might not be as big, but like who the hell cares?
Yeah. Yeah. Gynecomastia. I get that. Um. So to address what you said about the binary aspect, um,
Mhm.
a lot of people seem to think that the binary aspect was really always XXXY, but it was more so just male and female. Um, and then when the gender debates happened, it sort of just really honed in on the XXXY aspects. Uh, but male and female, really everything in language has a label thrown on it, right? I say table, and it's supposed to describe something that everyone in that language can really understand, right? There's dogs, which I mean they have a scientific name, but that's also a name given to them to describe them. There's dogs,
Mhm.
Canis lupus familiaris, but things are sort of given labels within language to communicate information. Um, which I mean, even language is in a root of biology. It's our FOXP2 gene that had a mutation. But my point is that the a lot of people they say assigned, but or like assigned at birth, right? And with like the genitals. And the reason that really happens is because the genitals are, statistically speaking, 98.3% of the time the telling tale of the individual sex.
Mhm.
So but it's also a byproduct. It's not exactly the determining. It's like, okay, it's not the determining factor, but the genitals themselves aren't the determining factor. But it's like it's a feature, right? And so they see that
Mhm.
feature, and because 98.3% of the time it's this way, um, when the human genome is sort of at its proper state, it's that So that's why they do that. But the idea that it's really assigned at birth is the flaws with saying something like that is there's labels on really everything. I think that humans are animals as well, and the idea to treat us differently because we think of ourselves as higher when really the only thing that we have that's really helped us is probably our FOXP2 gene heavily, like communication, and then like
Mhm.
progressively building stuff and technology and stuff like that. But I just don't like the idea of trying to treat humans completely different, as if we're not, as if we're not animals. Yeah, sure, we're not like a dog or anything, but we're mammals.
I'm actually thankful that you brought up the animal comment because there are, in fact, transgender animals in the animal kingdom. There's cases of clownfish. The male becomes a woman. I just had this happen recently in my own fish tank. One of my guppies turned from female to male because the ratio was off.
Um,
And they are treated exactly the same as another male.
okay, but those are fish.
But you're saying that humans are also animals.
Well, I'm saying specifically mammals. I can't think of any Homo sapien animal that. Well, I can't think of any Homo sapien that's altered their biology to become a female
What I'm
ever.
trying to say is these are still things that we see in nature. Just
Well,
because they aren't closely related to us, it doesn't change the fact that it still occurs. This is still something that we see happening.
with specific species, yeah, but nothing like that has ever been documented to happen. And with most mammals, that doesn't happen. It happens with a lot of fish or amphibians. I know that. Um, but I don't think that that kind of phenomenon where uh, you have a gender change to promote to keep the species alive has happened in humans. So I think that's kind of a false equivalence, though. I get what you're saying in the sense of
Mm-hmm.
the male and female aspects, but I don't think that. Well, yeah, we're animals, but we're also mammals, specifically closely related to monkeys. I mean, we're related to a lot of things because at the end of the day, a lot of things on the planet relate. But we've evolved to the point that I I just don't think that that's exactly comparing a fish altering its gender, or like an amphibious creature altering the said gender or being asexual, is a exactly fair comparison to how Homo sapiens operate in terms of their sex.
I do find it just a little bit funny that after you said at the end of the day we're all animals and you
Yeah,
bring up an example, you after you already said like, we're a little bit more evolved in the vocal range of things.
yeah.
Look, I bring up another animal, if not multiple animals, that show transsexual, like just it
Well,
happens in nature.
that's
You
not
kind of move the bar. You get what I mean?
that's not transsexualism, though. That's
Is it though?
transsexualism is something in humans that results in the individual presenting themselves as another gender or sex, but at the end of the day, still male or female. There's no change there. With animals, and also at the same time, though, you're comparing mammals to fish.
As I just said, after I gave that example, you moved the bar up.
Well, yeah, they're all animals, but you'd have to cite that kind of legitimate behavior where either a male or a female in like monkeys or something would have that kind of change to keep the species alive. Yeah, we're animals, but also animals are different. Does that make sense? You
Even
can't really
though you
compare.
just said 2 minutes ago that
Yeah, we're
we're
animals.
no different from animals.
We're no different from animals in the sense that we're bound by biology. Yeah, that was what I really meant. Was that we're all biological creatures.
Yeah, could have been more clear.
I just
Anyway,
okay. It's a good point, but I've never seen something like that happen in humans, Homo sapiens, or Neanderthals. Which I'm pretty certain. Hold on, I'm pretty certain Neanderthals are our closest cousin. Well, were they're not? They don't exist anymore. But I mean that in the sense of we're all animals, in the sense of like everything on Earth originates from carbon based biological life, and I feel like that some people want to pretend that humans aren't really that anymore.
I strongly disagree with that. Like, we're clearly carbon-based creatures.
Yeah, but
But
people
it's also there's a lot more to it than just we exist.
oh, are you suggesting like a higher power kind of stuff?
No, I'm not religious.
Okay, so
We have civilization
okay,
where you were bringing up how, animals are different. They
Yeah.
have their little societies, but the way that we have ours are on a much bigger scale, and we're able to do more complex tasks. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. But what does that have to do with gender? Humans are complex. Yeah. But at the end of the day, a lot of the things are really connected. I guess here's a few examples. So the reason why we have a lot of the things that we have in like society, right? And we build these things is because being in large numbers is statistically better for survival. Large numbers, and then refining things like foods and whatnot, having stores where you can go buy foods and whatnot, and setting things up like that is for us to eat. But at the end of the day, so here's an example.
Mm-hmm.
Say someone is hungry enough, okay? Actually, every person will end up doing this. If you're hungry enough, you'll eat another person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and people can say they won't, but you get to a point where survival instincts kick in. That's why fight or flight exists, and there's self-preservation. So at the end of the day, these instincts still exist, and they're the pinnacle of things that really drive us to. We're naturally social creatures, so that ends up resulting in friends and relationships. Very sexual creatures as well, which that also is due to our typically want to procreate. But that can be affected by other things as well. But just talking about like the majority.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what you mean by the complexities of building societies has to do with gender. Because
Let's see. Well, first off, obviously, we're not fighting for survival anymore. We're not worried about what's going to come out of the forest and eat us,
mm-hmm.
clearly. We're doing jobs. We're working for money. That way we can survive.
Mm-hmm.
That's really where the only survival comes from, is the need for money now with humans. But because of this, we're able to explore different avenues of, creativity or identity, where our expression may not be that of what we originally thought that we were going to be.
Well, at the end of the day, everyone has the ability to express anything. It's just that people choose to express themselves differently. So everyone can behave, and everyone has the capability of behaving in all of the same ways. It's just people behave in specific ways.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and with creativity, that's more so creation. I don't see the connection there with gender much. Hold on, did I disconnect?
I don't know.
No, okay.
No, we're good.
Yeah. Although my stream is behaving very oddly. Oh, it's back. Okay, that's weird.
Okay, there we go. I guess it just comes from the old, I remember hearing this back when I was a kid, express your creativity, or the way that you are creative is your way to express yourself. And while, yeah, obviously don't go creating new genders or anything, I remember seeing that 72 gender thing, even back then, I was like, we are not doing this. But it's like, when it comes to trans people and, they're not looking a certain way they have to get very creative with how they present themselves to start transitioning into the other gender,
Mm-hmm.
or none at all in some cases.
Okay. Well, humans naturally look for specific things to determine sex. Um, so when you're looking at an individual, like for instance, um, the male and female, bone structures is often different. The height average is also very different. The athletics is different. Um, so naturally we sort of look around for, and so that's what we sort of put in the categories of femininity and masculinity. Is our understanding of the difference between the two. Now, are things exaggerated? Yeah. Or have things been, sort of blown out of proportion and attached on due to society? Yeah. But at the end of the day, the most basic things of femininity and masculinity um, typically come from our innate ability to sort of just look around and look for one's, sex. So with being taller, with certain like either broad shoulders or like the chest body build that you see in a lot of guys, stuff like that, or like when you look at an individual, and they have facial hair, which mostly occurs in males, right? You think men, and sure that there is a societal aspect to that, but at the same time, there's also the aspect that we just naturally look for things to identify the individual's sex. Does that make sense?
It does, but I don't think you entirely understand the differences that can happen when you start to transition.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who get their entire skulls like reshaped and shaved down to appear more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you brought up the male to female surgery,
Yeah.
electrolysis, laser removal of hair. That way, it never comes back. A big thing that they do before doing that surgery is multiple electrolysis appointments
Mm-hmm.
to make sure the follicle is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that on your face too. So there's a lot of ways that you can change a masculine face to look a little bit more feminine and confuse, kind of blur that line.
Maybe, but well, one that require a lot of money, and as well, also people react differently to hormones. This is why the brain scan study I discussed was pretty much,
Yeah, I don't believe in that.
yeah, that was really heavily smashed in because people react differently to hormones. That's why, like, even when bodybuilders get on certain things, they're going to react differently to those, whether it be SARMs, trend, gear, stuff like that. They're going to react differently to that. So not everyone is going to react the same way to a hormone therapy replacement. And not only that, but it's also something where you have to keep really taking it because your body's not going to start naturally producing that. At least I haven't seen anything where the body is capable of beginning production of that to begin with. And so I guess my next question is, what is really, and this ties into what I said at the beginning, what is the point of all that though? Because if we're wanting people to behave and express themselves freely, what is the point of making gender some form of expression if we're wanting people to behave freely, regardless of gender? I feel like it's this honing in an odd obsession. I mean, even with race, this is particularly why I don't like identity politics. It's this odd honing in when it comes to race and when it comes to gender of specific things, attaching culture to race, to race, to race, or we're trying to abandon stereotypes, but then the exact definition of gender in the social construct argument hinges themselves on stereotypes and social roles. I can't think of, a logical, rational reasoning to really. Okay, so we're wanting to move forward, right? Allow men to be more masculine, make sure both are equal. But then when you have people that are altering themselves and sort of, instead of just expressing themselves freely regardless of their gender, we're not going to really move forward. We're just going to reinforce those stereotypes if we're expecting them to change to those said stereotypes, so that they can express themselves. That doesn't really help the issue of the stereotypes to begin with, unlike simply just, okay, I'm a guy, but I can do whatever I want. If I want to put on makeup, whatever. If I want to do both, be a bodybuilder and put on, like, I seen one guy on TikTok that was, he was dressed up as a maid, had makeup on, and he was weightlifting. So I feel like this in and of itself just reinforces the same problem to begin with, and I can't think of a rational reason why, especially when we're wanting to reach a point where that's not even there.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for that guy instance, right? If he felt like he had to transition to express himself that way, instead of, okay, well, now he's openly a guy, but he's expressing himself however he wants to, and he's got confidence in that. That actually combats the issue, unlike changing to conform to the issue. Does that make sense?
Kind of. Like, I see where you're trying to go with it, but something just is not clicking for me. Maybe it's just me.
I mean, at the end of the day, even if we do disagree, I still find the conversations interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And, I'm probably one of the weirdest people to talk about this because, non-binary, not male, not female. I don't care. I jokingly called myself a blob earlier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, there's been a lot of push that I've seen for, like, gender abolitionists. I don't know if you've seen anything about that, but there's gender nonconforming people.
Mm-hmm.
Who will say, yes, I am biologically this, but I just don't care what, the social norms are.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to actively deconstruct those social norms in that binary that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have at this point, unfortunately. But
yeah, but those people, I would say, are making more progress than the ideology behind trans. I would say that they're making more effort towards a progressive society in the sense of, okay, well, yeah, I'm this, but fuck social norms. Unlike, trans, which is transitioning to fit in with those same social norms rather than just abandon them and just expressing yourself freely regardless of gender. Hold on, what did Fry say? Oh, he's saying hi, and how are you?
oh, hi, Fry. Just saw you. Like, I don't know. It's a touchy subject. This whole subject is very, very touchy, and you say one thing wrong, and people will be like, no, it's this, no, it's that. But it's like, when it comes to gender, I'm not going to tell someone that they can't express themselves a certain way. If they feel like there is some sort of imbalance and going on that hormone therapy will help them, even if it's not for their biological sex, go ahead. I'm not going to say you're not this or you're not that, because that is not my choice to decide.
Mm-hmm.
That is entirely internal. That's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
How they express themselves, yes, that is external. But I also feel like if you see a trans woman on the street or like a trans guy, then you would automatically consider them the gender that they are trying to be, or the one they identify as. Sorry. Ugh.
It mostly depends on the individual. and how well hormones and the surgeries work out for them. With my thoughts on it, particularly, and this is really the only reason I even debate this. I mean, besides the fact that I enjoy it, is I don't particularly care what really if they want the surgery, that's their money. If they want the hormones, that's their money, and it's like, I'm not going to tell a bodybuilder, oh, don't fucking do trend or something like that, because they're going to do it regardless, and that's what they want to do. Can I say that it's not, medically a good idea? Yeah. But I'm not going to go out of my way to be like, oh, that's not a good idea. If they start the conversation with me, then I'll be like, okay, well, medically this can happen, but again, as long as they're making their medical decisions, it's whatever. And as long as they're fully aware of the decisions they're making, it's whatever. Now, the idea that individuals must conform to that, though, or compelled speech is particularly what I'm not a fan of. Because I feel like everyone has the right to believe whatever they want to. And I don't think trying to push people to do what you want them to do and compel their speech into doing so is really an appropriate way of conducting yourself. Because, at the end of the day, if you're trans, you're still going to get the surgeries. You're still going to go about it. One person not doing what you want isn't going to change the fact that you're still, if you're trans, going to end up doing it. Or having already done it.
There is a slight problem with that, and you brought up the money earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There's also some trans people who are physically unable to get the surgeries that they want, and that severely affects them. There are some people who have autoimmune diseases where, say, if they try to get top surgery, it's not going to happen. They're going to be in pain for months and months and months instead of the usual couple of weeks for healing. So it's I get what you're trying to say when you say, it depends on the individual when it comes to, seeing them across the street, figuring out if they're trans or not, figuring out, what their biological sex is. But the fact of the matter is, I said before, it's not black and white like that. Yeah, people want to get these surgeries and they want to go on hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they don't, that's cool too.
Yeah, I'm not saying that if you're trans you have to. I'm just saying that most trans individuals end up doing that. If they don't, they do. That is what it is. But the idea that other people must conform to your view of yourself is... It's sort of this entitled demanding and compelling of speech, which is one of the things that Canada tried to do.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, to combat that, it's kind of hard to say that, trans people shouldn't be conforming to, these sexist stereotypes when they're trying to conform so that people will perceive them as that way.
Are you saying it's unfair?
In a way, it's unfair to both parties, because when you think about it, you're asking someone to conform their speech to properly identify someone. Well, that person is trying to appear more masculine or more feminine, depending on, if they're FEM, MTF, to fit into that norm. That way they don't have to worry about being called the wrong gender. It just kind of snowballs and it keeps going, you know?
It's simple. Just move on. One person disagreeing with your view of yourself doesn't shape reality. And if one person disagreeing is what sets you off, then I don't think you're rational to begin with. I don't think that really, I don't think that if someone disagreeing with you, like obviously if the individual is going out of their way to bother you, right, and harass you, that's one thing. But someone not agreeing with you being a big problem is, I mean, it just shows that you're immature, and if it really is that big of a deal that one person out of the billions on this planet, or people on the billions of this planet, don't do what you want, I don't think that's rationally sane. I don't think that that individual is sane. And that's not to say, oh, all trans people are like that. I'm just saying that if an individual disagreeing with you is world-shattering, then I don't think that is mentally sound whatsoever.
So I will say that one person definitely is not, world shattering. But typically, it ends up being that one person that becomes the tipping point. Like, we're going back into psychology here, of course, but imagine being fearful every single time that you go out of the house. Okay. You have to look a certain way. You have to get this binary perfectly, or else you're going to be caught, and who knows what will happen then.
I don't really support, I don't support attacking people.
I don't either, but this is something that trans people have been raised listening to, is, trans people get beat up, trans people get killed. The whole thing about Stonewall, like the cops broke in, tried to arrest people, they finally fought back.
Okay.
Because at that point, being trans was seen as like a criminal offense. You could go to jail for it. And it really wasn't that long ago when we go in, the history of man. So, obviously, attacking people is not good, but there are some bigoted people out there, really hateful people that just do not like trans people to their core. Is it that they're afraid of them? Is it that they don't understand? I don't know. I can't get in their head. I couldn't tell you. But trans people, 90% of the time, are trying to just feel comfortable in their own skin. But what comes with that is the anxiety of being found out.
Okay.
Because as soon as somebody clocks you as trans, they start looking at you differently. And some people are more open about the fact that they're trans, and that's okay too. But when it comes to, say, a trans person freaking out on Twitter, we have no idea if earlier in the day, if they were misgendered, or if they got mugged. We aren't sure what's going on in that person's life. We don't know if trauma caused them to start identifying as a different gender. There are just so many little things that we aren't aware of. And it's just...
I don't think that expecting other people to coddle an individual, though, is relatively fair. I just don't. Like, I get what you're saying, but I also don't see the relevance to, someone disagreeing. I'm not saying, events where they've been at the receiving end of a hate crime. I'm just saying that in a everyday sense of casual situation, right? I don't think that expecting everyone, like if they're your friends, that's one thing, but I don't think that expecting everyone to coddle that individual and cater to someone's, specific view set is rational. People are gonna, do what they want to do. Does that suck at times? Because some people make poor decisions. Yeah, but the idea that you have to cater to someone's feelings and perception of themselves, otherwise you must hate them, or otherwise you have to dislike them. I just find that sort of mentality where, okay, well, if you don't believe, you don't participate, oh, you now hate them. Like, I think that's ridiculous.
I can see where you're coming from with that. So from day to day, I I still get misgendered all the time.
Hmm.
I'm not expecting it to, be a thing for the next 5 or 10 years, even though during tax season we had ads about non-binary people. There are still people who strictly go with male and female. It's it's a very difficult conversation to have. Very, very difficult. Give me just one moment.
Chat, you guys are very quiet. What's up? Unless
Are
I'm
they
delayed. Yeah, unless my stuff's delayed. Hold on.
quiet?
Hold on. No, it's not
No, it's
delayed.
not.
There's 7
That's
viewers
just
though.
dead. Fry said this debate is civil so far. Well, I kind of said earlier that I don't like fighting. I didn't intend to come into this like guns blazing because I don't want to do that. That's stupid. That's not gonna get us anywhere.
Oh, hold on.
Mhm.
This whole society conversation is pointless. The social norm associated with each sex depends on the society. The biology of these sexes don't change for your society. I'm aware of that. Yeah, they can change for society. Personally, I just think that I see no point in the semantics of things. I think that sticking with sex basis over gender, and then allowing people to express themselves freely is likely what'll push society forward. Because with sex, right? It's important for, well, one, medical information,
Mhm.
and biological aspects, procreation and all of that. Obviously, they're going to go about treating testicles differently from ovaries, which, I mean, they're
Yeah.
technically testicles were ovaries at one point, but then they were converted to tissues and all of that. But there's differences.
Mhm.
So I think that I don't, the semantics aspect of it doesn't make any rational sense. And I suppose that naturally it's not rational, and that's fine. But to expect everyone to sort of conform to that sort of way of thinking, or to frame anything outside of that as uneducated or um, immediately hateful is quite a broad brush to paint. Because so far everything in this that you've mostly provided has been mostly feelings based,
Mhm.
not really many objectives. So it's kind of like, I guess, what's the best way to put it? I guess I could sort of compare it to, it's not a religion, but it operates quite, not quite similar. But when it comes to religion, you have like faith, right? You have to believe in it, and sort of
Mhm.
like blindly believe in it, and there's not much objective evidence. Actually, there's not really any, unless I'm missing some kind of miracle, to support it. And to those that are religious in chat, I mean, if you want to take this as like a jab at you, that's not the intentions. But like when it comes to like religion and stuff, like it had quite a heavy hold on society until like the Renaissance period, where people started to explore other things, other ideas, particularly science. You had people like Galileo that were considered heretics and were punished, and then he ended up being right. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't think that, personally, I see it as sort of a balance. People can call themselves whatever they want to, and if they want to get surgeries, if they want to, and they want to go ahead and do that, hormones, that's their prerogative. But to expect everyone to sort of conform to that, and then if they don't, label them the uneducated ones when, I mean, I haven't seen a lick of any, objectiveness to it. It's mostly, so far, feelings in psychology. I don't know, it seems a bit ridiculous. Hold on, someone said something.
What? Oh, they're going over the sex and gender.
Ah, John Money. Yeah. And even the thing that happened with John Money, I mean, his experiment ended up failing, and what happened was, actually, David, that's his name. Bingo. David at one point said, I think it was in an interview, or it was a quote that someone got from him at some point. When is it going to take someone blowing their head off for them to listen to me? And then he ended up literally blowing his head off. So I think that, okay, so for people that sort of want to go about that, they can. I'm not looking to stop people from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But do I think it's rational? Not really. Do I think that going about, especially with the way things are going about like right now, not even just with Twitter, but Twitter is a fucking hellhole, okay? That gives, literally Twitter gives anything and everything on it a bad look. But
I mean, you're not wrong. You're really not. I mostly just go on that Bird app to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, I use Twitter just to meme around. But lately, it's just, it gets less and less funny, so I get less and less on it. This is the most active I've been on it in the last 2 days, really. But in my eyes, I don't think it's rational, and that's sort of, I mean, it's whatever, but I just don't like the idea of, going around and telling people, oh, you have to do this, or otherwise this, like the whole transphobia stuff, right? And a lot of people have labeled me that. That's fine. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. But the basis of that argument is either something that I supposedly did, in some kind of drama, or specifically, it's because I don't particularly agree. And I've explained why dozens of times, and it's really this mentality. Okay, so here's a hypothetical question. Mm-hmm. If you're not a religious individual, so say someone that does believe in religion wants you to participate in their norms, right? Like Christmas, which is ironic because Christmas was a pagan holiday and then they took it for.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Yeah. Imagine if they want you to celebrate their religious stuff, like Easter or fucking Christmas, and you don't agree with it, so you don't. Does that mean you then hate every, religious individual or everyone in that religion?
So, clearly I don't hate everyone in that religion, and while I may not agree, I'm actually someone who would like to at least experience those other religions, those other holidays, these ceremonies, because I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah.
Like, I may not believe in, the core roots or anything, or whatever the hell it's been misconstrued into, Christianity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah,
but I would still be respectful.
Okay. So, what if an individual doesn't want to participate in that religion? Does that mean that they then hate those that do participate in it?
No, but it could definitely spiral into that if conversation keeps going, and then things get more heated. Because usually those things do. And it could be one side or the other side. It could be the religious side getting heated, or,
that's the
for
thing.
example, the atheist side getting heated.
And so I think that to blindly, just throw labels out there because of a disagreement. Look, I think the only time that I've ever sort of got genuinely sort of angry or like close to angry. And it's never really been discussing anything regarding this, right? I don't take YouTube stuff too seriously like that.
Yeah, me neither.
Was Madlib's video when she tried to essentially use shit regarding a friend against me. Didn't like that. You can make up whatever you want about me, but targeting people near me there's no point for that. If you're that desperate, then don't do it to begin with. So I think like what I'm saying is I think that throwing a label on something or on somebody because of a generalization is it's ridiculous. I think that you're saying that this individual is hateful and that they hate a particular group of people while at the same time assuming that on the basis that they don't agree with that group of people. Now, if like that individual was going out of their way to like attack them or like fucking dox them or shit like that or some of the things that I've seen, like I guess a good example was like Harley TBS made a video on one of their trans friends. Someone was like fucking messaging them, like just wouldn't stop bothering them solely because they were trans. Yeah, that would be a good example of like genuine like transphobia. But then you had the same instance where, okay, well, I don't agree, I don't, people that don't agree and simply just don't conform are typically labeled transphobes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's a really rational way of going about your day, Like, yeah, they don't agree, but, I mean, that's not stopping. As long as the individual isn't really stopping you, it's like, it's whatever.
And that's the thing. Usually when it comes to people not agreeing, they're like, okay, whatever, they go on their way.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, when you're saying the stuff that you are on Twitter to multiple people, it kind of seems like an argument, and then people get more and more upset because some people have problems reading like context or tone when it comes to somebody typing on a screen.
Yeah.
So they'll take it as more aggressive. And that can be what starts most Twitter fights.
So the things that I do on Twitter, right? I guess a good example was I criticized doodle tones, right? Back in that was like last year. I didn't even mention gender shit. Not once. Not once. But someone else ended up doing so. And then Mad Libs decided, okay, well, let me frame this as, oh, Doodle Tones is being attacked for being trans. Didn't happen, though. Didn't happen. Not once. Didn't even mention it. Someone else did. And then they wanted to start a debate on it. I didn't. But so there's a lot of that. But in terms of like the community, there's no instance where I go out of my way to attack individuals simply for being trans. Like, Lucy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't start that shit. CJ didn't start that shit. Slumber didn't start it. Doodle Tones was the only time I did start it, and I didn't even mention gender. But a lot of people sort of aim it at that. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to say that, okay, yeah, me going around and having fun on Twitter, I don't even mention gender much a whole lot, unless the individual like actually debates or wants to rebuttal, and then I'll debate. I've had a few somewhat genuine debates on there, as of like the last few, I'd say like last 2 weeks. But like just assuming that an individual is going at you based on gender because they don't agree with it. It's the impulsivity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I just...
And I will say that, when it comes to trans stuff, because it is so touchy, a lot of people will just go with that impulse.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that person is saying that they don't agree with something. That thing being, their existence.
Yeah, this was actually...
causes a problem.
Yeah, this was surprising. Well, it's not... I think that the existence argument is a straw man. And I say that because... I don't agree with religious people, but it's not denying that they exist. It's just not agreeing with what they say. So, or I don't. I mean, some people may not like Hawaiian stuff on their pizza, which I've never understood the hatred for. I don't care for it, but I've never understood the hatred for it. But some people may not like things or agree with things, but that doesn't mean that the people like I don't believe in flat Earth theory, but people that do believe in that do exist.
They do.
Yeah.
And I've seen some stuff on it is like the weirdest cult conspiracy shit I have ever seen.
No, if you want to see cults conspiracy shit, go to like the corners of TikTok or QAnon or maybe 4chan. Like there's these really specific, like if you ever just want to see like the crazy wackadoodle just fucking shit, like whether it be flat Earth, a lot of people they believe in flat Earth, and like that's why some people like one of the things that is common is like because you can't see the curvature of the Earth. Have you seen that one?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember seeing something about that, and somebody actually proved the flat earthers wrong, and then he got paid for entertaining their idea in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
That was, oh my god.
Yeah, there's a lot of that where it's like, okay, there's the curvature of the Earth one, and like whether it be flat earthers or like there's a lot of conspiracies like and whatnot, and a lot of crazy stuff regarding that. Honestly though, if you ever want to dip like your fucking toes in some really cancerous shit, like really fucking stupid cancerous shit, I would recommend. I mean, TikTok it's ass, but like that's really a good start. Like there's a lot of like just crazy conspiracy theories regarding Hollywood. Like Hollywood's a weird and messed up place, but it's not like that. But yeah, there's a lot of messed up stuff. Like, but yeah, but back to the main point that I was saying is like, I don't think that. I think that with the Twitter culture of things, because so back when I was like 16, I did have an overgeneralization. But now things it's just more so a lot of mostly Twitter individuals that like to overgeneralize and slap and throw labels around rather than genuine discussion. Well, I wouldn't really say Twitter because a lot of people in the CC, well, in the audience of the CC do it too, but I just don't think.
Yeah, but it really just kind of migrates back to Twitter when you
That
think
is true.
about it.
Yeah, they are active on Twitter a lot.
Yeah.
So, really, I don't know what else to go over. But we have both established our sides of this. So, what are... Well, hold on. What time is it for you?
It is. What time is it? 7:39.
Okay. Hold on. I'm busy at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on. I'm gonna go mute real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. All right, there we go. How to take care of something.
It's fine, no worries.
What was I saying before? I can't remember.
You were saying something about like we've kind of gone over all the talking
Yeah,
points
we've
that you
both gone
had.
over our fair points. I didn't expect it to go like this. You seemed very angry on Twitter. Maybe that was a bold assumption of mine, but you seemed a little bit angry.
So, I have this very bad habit of coming off as very threatening and like angry,
Mm-hmm.
when in reality I'm either laughing or I'm like curled up under something.
Yeah, okay. I have that
Like
same problem
I,
too, though. I'm naturally a sort of aggressive, hostile individual, I suppose.
and
But
it's like I can probably just go back through like, oh, it came from this childhood trauma, blah blah blah, because it's just a whole bunch of shit. But it's like I'm not that big of like a fighter at all. Like I can sit here and argue opinions with you day and night, but I'm
mm-hmm.
not gonna sit here and be like, no, fuck you, fuck this, fuck all your ideology.
Yeah,
Because I'm not that way. There's some stuff where it's like, I'm obviously a hard no, should not be doing that. But when it comes to gender stuff, I'm more open to conversation.
Okay. Chat's a bit active. Let's see.
That's my fault.
I do not like pineapple on pizza. I mean that's fine, Fry. I never understood the hate for it. Hey yo, just like John Money, in their best on the internet to believe it. I would say that a lot of the things in terms of like the most recent theories, actually, it's fascinating. It actually a lot of it goes back to Tumblr. Um, like with cultural appropriation and even like a lot of identity politics. Not all of it, but a lot of it was on like early 2008, 2009, 2011 Tumblr. It was that was an odd time for Tumblr.
It was. It really was. And then, what, like 8 or 9 years later, they nuked all the porn? So it
Yeah,
just died?
yeah. And then everyone moved over to DeviantArt, and then after that, everyone moved over to Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of like playing Twitter roulette while I was trying to respond. Because I do follow a couple of, like, not safe for work art. I'm just scrolling through my feed and it's like, nope, next dick. Gotta keep going in front of coworkers. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
A lot
I
of
should just go ahead and make like a not safe for work Twitter to follow that stuff, but eh.
that would probably be. I mean, if they don't put a
It would be
spoiler tag.
smart.
Yeah, because if they don't put a spoiler tag and you're at work and you're scrolling through, oh, there's something here.
Like, it would be smart. But also, I shouldn't be using Twitter at work.
Read chat or gay. I'm reading chat. Twitter people went to Twitter. That's why it's crazy. Well, okay, so yeah. Wait. What? Hold on. What did that say? I can't fucking read. I'm stupid. Tumblr
People
people.
went to
Yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah, they bounce around a lot. I want to say that there's a lot of them on Amino, and that's for another stream. The amount of shitty experiences I have on that god awful app are going for a complete like story time stream. It's a shitty fucking app, but
I was on there for a short while. I think I only joined like a fish keeping amino. And even then, I was getting hate, even though I was talking about my fish.
yeah, yeah. In short summary, the problems with Amino, massive amounts of censorship, regardless of politics. Regardless, it doesn't matter where you go. Whatever politics dominate, something's gonna get censored if you don't agree with absolutely everything. Then you have the problem of like the worst aminos are probably there's also like a lot of fucking weird fucking people on there like borderline like there's a lot of fucking cases of grooming. I'll tell you that now. I'm surprised Amino hasn't had a fucking court case. I should probably see if they have, but um, and then there's also like a lot of staff abuse on a lot of people, just unfair staff management. That
Hmm.
happens in a lot of aminos. And then also, if you put your creative works on there and you get banned, there's no fucking way you're getting them back. You might as well just give up. It's just not happening. So you always want to back your shit up. But that's in short. I got a whole fucking stream for just everything that I've dealt with from Amino.
Yeah, that's why I stayed the hell away from it. Because I'll be honest, I'm not really the most social person.
Hmm.
Like, I'm trying to be more social, like, get on Twitter more, just post about my day. Because I have a bad habit of just, like, blocking people out and talking to the same three people. So it's like going on to a brand new app and joining this brand new group with, like, hundreds of other people. Scary. You know?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me read chat. My friend got involved in like nudes blackmail on there in 7th grade. Amino was run by kids and kids own Amino. Pedos. Look at Cristalli case. I actually should. I actually should. I'll probably discuss it when I do a stream on Amino, or if I do a video on Amino, because it could be its own video. The amount of shit that I've put up with and seen. Um. So, God, and Discord is also starting to attract that Amino crowd. Um. It's like, you ever notice that when an app comes out, it's like almost really good at first, or it's really shit, and then it gets to a really good point, and then it gets really fucking shitty. It happens with like any really social app ever. I guess it's like the natural lifespan of like social apps.
It
Um,
kind of is, because now we have what? Wasn't there an advertisement for like Twitter Blue or something where you actually have to pay to edit your tweets now?
I didn't
Yeah,
even know that
that's
was a
fucking
thing.
stupid.
I did not know that was a thing.
Oh my god. So they did, what was it? Uh, so it's like Discord Nitro or whatever, like a subscription, couple of bucks a month. You can edit your tweets, you can do like small social group things,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the ability to monetize your Twitter.
And make money off of it?
Yeah,
Off of Twitter.
off of Twitter.
I mean, if they're gonna make it to where you can monetize it, they at least need to like, okay, first off, the amount of characters, that's the problem with debating on Twitter. Which, it's fun, but it's a pain in the ass because the amount of character limits that you have to do threads. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you gonna monetize though? Are you just gonna slap ads? I know that there's a lot of like OnlyFans accounts that are slapping ads everywhere, or like paying people to sort of promote their shit. But
Or they were when OnlyFans was still allowing porn, but
oh no, that got retracted. Yeah, OnlyFans.
oh, good,
Yeah, they,
good.
they, they realized, oh shit, we're gonna go bankrupt now. They're like, oh, well
Mm-hmm.
for initially the decision was like, okay, we don't want our app, our service to be seen as sexual. It's too late for that. It's a little too late for that one.
They should have done that years ago.
Yeah. And then so they made the decision, and then they realized the amount of backlash that they got for it, and like getting laughed at because you're gonna go bankrupt. Like, is that what you want?
Mm-hmm.
Um. So then, now here's the problem though. The security for that is shit. I'm just gonna say that
Oh
now. I've
yeah.
watched so many videos about the security on OnlyFans. Like, I get it. People got to make their fucking money, but at least try and do it on something that's genuinely secure, because like the amount of fucking shit that just gets just ass dumped out, it doesn't seem like a good site to really make your dough showing your body, but people choose that. But yeah, they retracted the
Mm-hmm.
decision because they were going to go bankrupt. But I wonder how that board meeting went. Honestly, I would think that'd be entertaining to see that board meeting. Okay, we want to get rid of the porn off the website. Well, I mean, it's a little too late for that. No, we're going to do that. Oh, no, now we have to retract our decision because we're going to go bankrupt. Because a bunch of people started flocking to other, a lot of the OnlyFans individuals started flocking to, like, other websites and signing up there, so they were losing shit.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is funny, don't have an account, but love taking screenshots of petty dramas to sip with coffee, especially with the especially with the shade thrown. Yeah, yeah. Twitter is it's chaos. It's chaos.
It's chaos, but a lot of people still like it.
Yeah.
It keeps them entertained during the pandemic, you know?
It did. I will say that. Yeah, a lot of people like
Mm-hmm.
Twitter's activity shot up during the pandemic. Actually, pretty much every online because I mean, no one could really interact. I mean, they
A
weren't legally
lot of
supposed to.
online stuff shot up. Twitch streamers were like the MVPs because they kept everyone busy while they were stuck inside. And shit, a bunch of the fast food places around me, their business went up, I want to say 25%, because everyone was ordering takeout. No one
Yeah.
wants to cook.
Well, I'd say this is a good stream, and I'm glad that you came on.
Well, thanks for having
Yeah, I didn't expect it. I was wanting it. I was wanting. I managed to get Feg on, and that was actually fun. I actually enjoyed.
Yeah,
That was
he's
a
a
nice
cool dude.
conversation. And then you came on. So yeah, that was nice. That was nice. I didn't expect that, but it was nice. And now I know how to use OBS a little bit.
I'm glad I was your guinea pig?
I'm
Question
not
mark?
really guinea pig. I was well. You said you didn't want StreamYard, right? And I don't like StreamYard myself because to customize it, I have to pay for it. And if I can
Mm-hmm.
go the free route with OBS, I'm going the free route. Um, so I just like I spent like I'd say almost 40 minutes trying to set it up, and it was a pain in the ass at first. But now that I have it set up, um, I know now how to improve on it. So streams are just gonna. Oh, hold on. Twitter users when people Twitter users when people in real life summed up by basic characteristics listed in easily accessible 100 character boxes, and they have to interact with them. If Twitter was like real life, it would be chaotic. You could only say amount like something at once, and then just that would be good.
Imagine being stuck saying one blurb, and then everyone can just have at you with their blurb, but then you have to wait another minute to post your other blurb.
Yeah, like Elon Musk, he's developing this one technology which is like where it goes in your brain, right? And now, and my problem with that is like, look, is it good? Yeah. Do I think that Elon is hyping it up a little too much? Yeah. I mean, like he did do well with the Tesla cars, but like there's just this is brain stuff, It's like a little thing that goes in your brain and it plugs in there. It'll help with a lot of shit. I will admit that. But the idea that it's going to help with a lot of shit like really fucking quickly like eyesight and stuff, it'll help with depression definitely. I think that in fact it'll be something that I'll do with a lot of like imbalances in the brain, you know what I mean? It'll help with that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like, correct the way that your brain is sending signals.
yeah.
I've seen stuff like that for epilepsy, actually, like epilepsy and like tremors and
Mhm.
stuff.
So that
So
would be
like the
good.
science is definitely there, but I don't know about correcting eyesight because you have to change the eye itself.
Yeah, well, if the eye's damaged or if it's the what is it called? There's the tissue that connects it to the brain, the nerves, and so
The optic nerve.
yeah, the
Yeah.
optic nerve. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, Now here's one thing that I would hope that it would be capable of doing. So say someone's got like a broken spine, right? And this is like way out of gender, but I'm actually enjoying this. So say someone's got like a broken spine, right? And so where the spine is damaged, they can implant something on sort of both ends. So like I guess you could say in the brain or like sort of in the neck, right? And then where the other part of the other side before it's like where it's damaged, and it would basically sort of if we could ever develop that, and we probably will at some point. I don't think it'll be in our lifetime, but if they develop that,
Yeah.
it'll let
Like
people
give
walk again.
people the ability to walk again. That
Yeah,
would be incredible.
I don't think I could live if I couldn't see. Like I will deal with not walking. Okay, sight alone, I don't know if I can do that. I'm astonished that people can. I don't know.
So it's funny that you bring that up because I know I was like taunting you with like the physical deformity bullshit earlier.
It's the eyes.
It's the eyes and it's my joints.
What is it? The nerves in the eyes, or is it the eyeballs?
Uh, so it's weirdly enough, it's not just the eyeball itself. It's the connective tissue that makes up the eye, and it affects the rest of my body too.
Does it? Okay, so
So
it's the
I'm
type
like
of tissue in your eye.
crazy. Yeah.
Is it immune? It sounds like immune disorder.
So we've already checked for like autoimmune stuff. I'm still going through like doctors and like
Mm-hmm.
hospitals. I was at orthopedics a couple of weeks ago. That's when we found out about the deformity. Apparently, I have something called knock knees, which is surprising, but not too surprising.
Has it affected your eyesight poorly?
So the knees haven't affected my eyesight, but the collagen thing, like my body just doesn't either produce enough collagen, or what it does produce, it's faulty. So the lack of collagen in the eyes makes me very light sensitive
Okay.
to the point where overhead lights or even the sun, if I'm not wearing specific glasses for it,
Yeah.
I get like eye strain, headache, migraines.
Okay.
They're not fun.
Only one of my eyes do that. It's I can see perfectly fine almost out of both of them, but one of them is so light sensitive that if I'm outside, it just wants to like close. I can see fine out of it. It's just it doesn't like the sun, so it closes up if it's out there. But that has to be a
Yeah,
pain in the
exactly.
ass. That has to be a pain in the ass.
It is. It really fucking
Yeah.
is.
I
Like, I can see totally fine. I have like, I think they're 0.25 readers or something very weak.
but
But
it's the
I need
sunlight.
the blue light thing on it. And
Yeah.
I need to wear them 24/7 or else I get headaches. It's not even from looking at a screen, it could be the lights above me.
Yeah.
Fucking sucks.
So, and the reason why I mentioned the Elon thing, right, is because we were
Mhm.
talking about what if Twitter was in real life, okay? Now, he wants it to reach the point that people can have conversations without talking to each other, like Facebook, but in the head. Now, imagine the chaos of just your thoughts thrown out there like it's Twitter.
That would be the end of society.
People would
Completely.
go mad. And imagine when they like like corporate companies want to like put ads, and you just randomly you're listening to music or something in your head, and then ad. Like I would lose my mind.
I, I would too. I really would.
I am a burger. You know, nil. If you're a cannibal, I mean, so be it. You're racist. I'm probably racist. My right eye is better than average. Well, okay. So the question is, what is that? Faraway Phantom. Okay, so I have a question. Is
Hmm.
it well not for you, not for you, not trying to be a dick, but for Faraway Phantom. Um, just to sort of interact with them. Uh, do you is the right side of your body your dominant part, or is it your left side? And actually, this can go for both of you. Okay, like
So
what hand do you write with? Both of you.
I am left-handed.
Okay.
So yeah. But weirdly enough, actually, yeah, you're making me actually think now. Thanks. So with my joint issues, a lot of it is in my knees. Like I think I said at some point on Twitter, I walk with a cane.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do physical therapy, go in once a week, do it multiple times a day, just to try and strengthen those muscles. Uh, my left side is actually my stronger side by a considerable amount.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. People always have like a dominant side, and it's usually the side that they can write with. Um,
Hmm.
The knee
But
struggle aspect, I can get that. I have shitty knees as well. Not
mhm.
as bad to the point that, I have to fucking whip out a cane and grandma it, but it's bad to the sense that, like, so I used to do track, right? And that's probably what made things worse, actually.
Oh yeah.
Because they were bad before I did track, but I wanted to do track because I was always fast. But it made things it made things worse to the point that, like, I'm still physically active, but it's a pain in the ass because of just
Mhm.
how painful they are. So the fact that you have to walk with a cane, oh, that's gonna be bad.
Like, so picture this. I've been in food service for 6 years, running around, like lifting heavy things and running with them across like the restaurant or something.
Mm-hmm.
I went from that to barely being able to get up my own stairs, holding nothing. And it was, I don't want to say it was like an overnight thing, but it happened quickly.
It sounds
Like
like you're gonna need a
my
knee replacement in the next like 10 years.
funny thing actually, the knee thing that I was diagnosed with, there is a surgery for it,
To
and
f-
it's supposed to either and I looked up the video. I should not have because I want to barf.
no, 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 no. You want to look at a knee, but it shows the differences in severities of arthritis in the knee, and
Ooh.
it's how bad your knees can get.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was what they might do to me in the future if things
Mm-hmm.
don't get corrected. And basically, what they do actually like straight, and then they like bolt it together with a plate. I was freaking out.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. Surgeries like that. Oh,
You can't get both of them at the same time. You have to do one and then the other.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So double the heal time. Great.
After you get to walking again, and then it happens again, you'll be able to get to walking faster again. Not the first time around.
You'll know more of what to expect.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's fair, but it still doesn't change the fact that I kind of felt bad when I went to physical therapy a couple days ago. Like, went for my first visit, just so he could see exactly what's going on. And he was trying to tell me to stretch my leg a certain way. Trying to like push the top half of my leg down, like my calf,
Mm-hmm.
because I kept going too far.
Yeah, yeah. Some people just have more like flexible joints, so they
Yeah,
don't
and
realize when they're going a little too far.
that's the big issue with me is like I'm so hyper flexible and hyper mobile in certain joints that while I'm off doing my thing in the kitchen, I end up hurting myself without even realizing until 2 days later when it really starts to set in.
All right, all right. I'm gonna ask the chat real quick something. All right, what I am. So there's two stream ideas that I have. I want to get your guys' opinion, even though there's only like 5 people here. I'll do it in my Discord as well. Amino related, which will be probably very funny. There's quite a few stories, or Blackscape related. He's a Dragon Ball YouTuber. We'll discuss that a little bit. A little bit of weeb shit. What do you guys want, the weeb shit or the Amino shit? Which one? Okay. Well, while they catch up in terms of stream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on. I know you from the Madame situation. LOL. Probably Amino. Amino. Okay, so we got two Aminos. Ahoy, Hima. Ah, yeah, the good old Madame shit. That was 2 years ago, man. It's crazy. It'll be 2 years fully in it's September now, so in about a month. Because I got active in it in September, just fucking around, and then I think I don't know I gotta remember when I have to check when I uploaded that video. It was 2019 though, late 2019. We got 2 for Amino right now, none for the weeb shit. I mean, it's weeb shit. It's a little bit of politics, racial politics, but it's mostly weeb shit. Yeah, I did piss off a lot of furries. I wouldn't say that it's only furries that I pissed off though. It was definitely not only furries, but I did. I was surprised too, cause what was it? What was it? Fucking Joko musical. Yeah, he was angry too.
I have no idea what happened. I don't think I want to.
Oh, it's the yeah. If you don't know about the Madame stuff, that's fucking crazy. Cause that's like the biggest
Yeah,
number one
I
thing. Go
know
for it.
about some of the Madame stuff, but also with all my shit going on, like personally, medically, I just kind of stopped caring.
She didn't get banned because she violated the TOS. I think she. Hold on. I think Repsion, which I think he covered why she got banned, but it wasn't because she broke TOS. Um, there was another reason. Fuck, I can't fully remember it. Again, a lot of people though. This is, I guess, lightly discussing the Madame stuff while I wait for everyone else to put their opinions in. Um,
Hmm.
a lot of people really overestimated the shit that I did in that. Like some would say that I was like friends or something with Madame, and then funny enough, I actually found out about the drama from Slamer's Instagram, but not from Madame, but you know. And then what else? There was a lot of stuff. The video was poor in terms of editing and fucking audio. Dear God, I feel bad to subject anyone to that shitty fucking audio. Any amino info you need, I gotcha. Had some when I used to work with Necopan, and other stuff, especially. Hold on. Valdrock's cult crap. What in sweet fuck is that?
I'm scared.
King Barney will eat. Oh, King Barney. You are at a. Well, you missed the. If you want to go, back to the gender stuff, go back to the beginning of the stream. I'd say the first 40, 50, first hour minutes. I'd say an hour, maybe some change is when the debate happened, and now we've just talked about really whatever.
Yeah. I should probably get going.
Yeah. I don't want to keep you for too long, and I do need to end the stream because I do not want it to be 2 hours. But I am trying to get this ball.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for having. Well, thank you for coming on, and it was a. I enjoyed the discussion.
Yeah. It was a good time. You have a good night.
You too. Who is Carrick? Who are you saying is Carrick? I'm not closing the stream just yet, you all. There's no fucking way Barney is Carrick. There's no way. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. I'm sorry. I will be right back. Give me like 1 minute, guys. Alright, I am back. Oh, 6 people. Look at that. We have about 3 people for Amino, none for the weeb shit. King Barney is Carrick. I still don't believe that for a fucking second. There's no fucking way that's Carrick. I'm sorry. So, for those that I guess are, watching, I don't know if you guys are enjoying the debates over the content. I'm still gonna be making content, like, like commentaries and stuff like that. I got a new series coming out. Actually 2. I have 2 new series coming out. Maybe 3. Right now they're in the scripting phase. But just been a little bit busy with a handful of projects and stuff. But if you guys enjoy the streams enough, they're gonna get they're gonna get better and better. I'm gonna try and fucking make them better and better, and I'm gonna make outlines, right? So if I'm gonna be discussing something on stream, I'm gonna have an outline of the things that I want to discuss, just a handful of topics, so that we don't have this situation. I don't mind it too much because not only did we have the gender debate, but then we talked about other stuff and it was pretty funny. But at the same time, with specific streams, I'll just have an outline of things. Not scripted, but just an outline. Any final thoughts you guys want me to read and respond to before I close this off? It can be gender related too. Considering that's what this stream is mostly focused on. Although I could be a little bit late in terms of the receiving end of your guys' stuff, because it's saying that the status is poor. All right, it seems to be relatively dead in the chat, the top chat. So I'm gonna end the stream. Is Baba Fox a fox, box, or a bird? Bird. Bird. Barney Bird. Actually, I think the name is a reference to a kind of... My stream is getting inconsistent, but anyways, good night. You guys have fun, enjoy it. There will be a stream tomorrow regarding some stuff. I am working on some content, but I'm going to be signing off for tonight.